As a teacher, when you assess your learners in your classroom, you are advised to use various types of tools. Sometimes you use an achievement test, sometimes you develop some unit tests, sometimes you develop a questionnaire, sometimes you develop rating scale. So a lot of tools are there. Questionnaire is one of the most important tool which not only as a teacher you use in your classroom for assessment of your learners, but you also use questionnaire as a tool during the action research if you are going to conduct that in your classroom, or many times in the other research activities also. So questionnaire is a very important tool. Why it is important, this we will discuss today. We will also discuss what are the basic principles which you can keep in your mind when you are going to develop a questionnaire. Let us see first what is a questionnaire. A questionnaire is actually a self-reportive data collection tool or data collection instrument which collects factual information. So the first thing about the questionnaire is that questionnaire helps in collection of factual information. The second important characteristic of questionnaire is that generally questionnaire is a paper pencil instrument, means you distribute it to your learners and your learners or the respondents fill it by using a pencil or pen, whatever they have. But nowadays we are also practicing questionnaire on web through online mediums, through social media, through email. You can send the tool, the questionnaire which you have developed by using web tools, right? The third important characteristic of a questionnaire is that questionnaire helps you in collecting all types of data. Means purely quantitative data you can collect through questionnaire, purely qualitative data you can collect through questionnaire, or you can develop a questionnaire which has mixed items. Means some items for quantitative data, some items for qualitative data. Even you can use a mixed item also. Means the same item, for some information, the information is in form of quantitative data, and you also give an option in the same question so that you can collect the information in form of the qualitative data, right? And you can administer, or you generally administer a questionnaire personally to a group of respondents. So this is also a good characteristic and benefit of the questionnaire, that you can administer the same questionnaire to a group of respondents. Means you can collect data from a large number of sample at once, right? If we see about the questionnaire, that what are the types of questionnaire, there are two criteria to classify the questionnaire. The first criteria is type of response, and the another criteria is method of administration. According to types of responses, questionnaires are of two types. One are fixed response questionnaire, another are open-ended questionnaire. Whereas on the basis of method of administration, a questionnaire can be a mailed questionnaire, means the questionnaire which you send through post to the respondent, they fill it and return it back to you. Or it is face-to-face, means in the face-to-face setting, you distribute the questionnaire to the learners and they fill it and return to it. And nowadays, we are using e-questionnaire or the questionnaire in the web form also. So this is the basic classification of the questionnaire, that what are the types of questionnaire. Let us focus on development of questionnaire. And I am going to explain few very important principles of questionnaire construction, which have been given in a very good book of Johnson and Christensen. I have taken all the principles from the book and I am going to explain each principle for you. The first principle is, make sure the questionnaire item match to your research objective. If you are developing a questionnaire for the research purpose, your research has certain objective. If you are developing a questionnaire for the classroom assessment, you have some assessment objective, but you always have certain objectives. If your questionnaire pinpointedly match with the objectives, your questionnaire is a good questionnaire. So what you can derive from this principle, that when you are going to develop a questionnaire, First you decide what are the objectives, and under each objective what you are going to test. So your item should match with your objectives. This is the first principle of questionnaire construction. The second principle of questionnaire construction is that understand your research participants. Means who are your participants? Who are your learners? Who are your respondents? First understand them. When I am saying understand them means you understand what is their age, what kind of mental abilities they have, what is the level of language competency of those respondents. Are they able to understand the language which you are going to use in your questionnaire? So you analyze and understand who are your respondents, because you should keep in your mind that questionnaire is not for you. It is not going to be filled by you. It is going to be filled by your respondents. If you prepare a questionnaire in English and your respondents are more comfortable in Hindi or any other regional language, they will not fill your questionnaire properly. So, the language of the questionnaire should be the language of the learners. We will discuss all these things in coming principles also. The third very important principle is, what is that? That use natural and familiar language. Every learner has a language standard. If you use a language which is above that standard, learner will not be able to understand what you are going to ask or what is being asked in the questionnaire. So either they try to fill the questionnaire with fake answers, or they avoid certain items which they are not able to understand due to their language, because language is not familiar with them. If the level of the language is below, it will not create interest among the learners. So you should also analyze the level of the learners in terms of their language competency and use only that language which is familiar and natural to your learners. Another similar principle is write items which are clear, precise and relatively short. Let me give you one example. You see this example. What is the language? Has constructivism brought a radical transformation in modern Indian epistemology? And this is a question in a questionnaire for school teachers. Now you see, the school teacher hardly understand constructivism. Very few of them may be aware about the term epistemology. Very few may be aware about the term radical transformation. So when you are using these, technical jargons in your questionnaire, it may be good for you because you have in your mind that you are going to test all these things. You are going to test whether this constructivism has brought some changes in the classroom teaching learning. So why you are not using the term classroom teaching learning? Why are you using the term epistemology? Why are you not using the term great change? Why you are using a term radical transformation? So, principle 3 and principle 4 of a questionnaire construction focus on language of the items. The next very important principle is, then don't use leading or loaded questions. What do we mean by leading question and what do we mean by loaded question? Let me give you one example. Here are two examples. The first example is, do you think constructivism is better than behaviorism? Now, what this question is saying, do you think constructivism is better than behaviorism? You are leading, you are hinting your participant that constructivism is somewhere better than behaviorism. So the language of your item is leading towards the probable answer. That's why this item is not a good item. Let us see the second example. Has constructivism brought fair chances for teaching to be child-centered? Fair chances is a loaded word. Fair chances is a loaded word. You are loading the answer within the item. If you ask the same item that does constructivism make teaching dash child-centered, teacher-centered, content-centered or any other option you can fill. Now learner have a choice. But if you are giving a hint that constructivism has brought fair chances for teaching to be learner-centered, again you are loading the answer within the item. So whenever you are developing a questionnaire, neither use a leading term nor use a loaded term in your questionnaire. Another principle is what is on the screen. It is a double barrel gun. Yes, it is here purposely because the principle is saying avoid double barrel questions. What do we mean by double barrel questions? You see the example. Do you think teachers should be given face-to-face training or instructional manual in constructivist pedagogy? Options are yes or no. Now, if you think, then teachers should be given face-to-face training, but no manual. Or if you think that teachers should be given a manual, training may not be required. But you don't have choice because the questionnaire, whosoever has developed this questionnaire, he or she has used two items in one. Means he is asking about the face-to-face training also, and she is asking about the instructional manual also. So such kind of items where two options are given in the same item, and in answer there is no choice to choose one or another, then such kind of items are called double barrel items. These should be avoided. These should be two different items, not a single item. The next principle is avoid double negatives. What do we mean by double negative? You see on the screen. Are you not of the opinion that constructivism is not being practiced seriously in our classroom? What is the problem in the item is that item is using the term not two times in the same statement. So when the questionnaire will go to the respondent, there are chances that few respondent can miss any one not out of these two, and their response may be just opposite what they want to respond. So don't use items which are having two negative terms or two negative words in same statement. This is also a very important thing when you are developing test items or questions for your questionnaire. The next very important principle is that first you have to determine whether an open-ended question is required or a closed-ended question is required. Actually, it depends upon the content for which you are developing a question. If you know that question has a fixed set of response and there is no chance with any respondent that they can give any other response, then you can choose a closed-ended item. But if there are chances that the options which you are visualizing or you are giving in the tool, learner may have a different option, then you should use a open-ended question. You can see an example on the screen. The first example is, which of the following is a characteristic of constructivism? Teacher-centered, informative, construction of own meaning, or tutoring. There are four options, only one option is correct. So this is a closed-ended question. Write any two constructivist practices you are using in classroom. Because why this question cannot be a closed-ended? Because there are different teachers. They are practicing different types of things in their classroom. You cannot give them option 1, 2, 3 or 4. So better to ask them what are the two practices which you are using in your classroom. So that every teacher is free to write the practices which they are practicing in the classroom. So you have to decide that for what kind of content there you need a closed-ended questionnaire, and for what kind of content you need an open-ended question. The next important principle is use mutually exclusive and exhaustive response categories for closed-ended questions. Let me again give you an example and try to explain these two terms. What do we mean by mutually exclusive and what do we mean by mutually exhaustive? Here are same items, two options. The statement is, which of the following category include your current age? 10 or less, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Now tell me if a learner is of 20 years, where he or she will tick, whether option B or option C, because 20 is in both the options. It means that these options are not mutually exclusive. If you write the options like 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, more than 40, then those options will be mutually exclusive. The second term is exhaustive. You see the same item in the second set of responses what I have written, 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 20. If you compare it with the first characteristic, all these options are mutually exclusive. 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 20. But these are not exhaustive. Means if a learner is of 21 year age or 22 year of age, where he or she will respond? You have not given them the option. If I keep it less than 1 year, 1 to 4 year, 5 to 9 year, 10 to 14 year, 15 to 20 year, more than 20 year, then every age group will be covered. So those options will be exhaustive options. So always keep in your mind that your option in multiple choice items should be mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Next very important principle is always consider different types of response categories which are available. You see the example. There are two items. My principal is an effective leader, and the options are strongly agree, disagree, neutral, agree and strongly agree. The second item is I am satisfied with my workplace environment. Very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, satisfied, very satisfied. So dissatisfied, dissatisfied, satisfied, very satisfied, right? Now you see, in the same tool, there are two items. One is related to the leadership quality of my principal. Another is related to the workplace environment where I am working as a teacher. Because the responses of both the items will be different, so my response categories are different. In first item, the response categories are strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree and strongly agree. And in second item, the response categories are in terms of satisfaction. So what you can do when you are writing your items and matching it with your objective, you should keep in your mind, especially when you are developing a rating scale type of items, then this should be kept in your mind that every item has a different types of response set. You cannot keep all the items in one list and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 strongly agree and 1 strongly disagree. And every item should be only rated on the strongly agree, strongly disagree, cannot say, and all these things. No, every item has a different types of response. So you should use different types of response set. This is also a very good principle of questionnaire construction. Next principle is use multiple items to measure abstract constructs. Why multiple items? Because there are different constructs which are abstract, like honesty. If you are going to test the honesty of a person, can you ask, do you think you are honest? Yes or no? Everyone will respond, yes, I am honest. So you cannot test such kind of, things in one item. You need a set of items. If you want to test the honesty, you should give 4 or 5 situations and 4 or 5 related items, and on the basis of their responses on those items, you can draw a conclusion that at the honesty scale where a respondent is standing, right? Next very important principle is that use multiple methods when you are measuring abstract construct. This is a very good principle, and now that's why nowadays in researches, the respondents or the researchers are not using a tool or the research methodology. They are using a model. In model, they sometimes use questionnaire, sometimes use rating scale, sometimes use open-ended. So all the 3 things they are using for the same set of attribute, so that they can generalize and they can draw the best which they can draw. The next very important principle is that use caution when you are reversing the language of words. It is always suggested that in your questionnaire, if there are more items, all items should not be positive. There is an example. Constructivism provide opportunity to learners to develop their own meaning. This is a positive statement. Learner cannot develop their own meaning under constructivism teaching learning. The wording has been reversed of the same item. So you can use some positive item, some negative item, so that for some the scoring can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and for some the scoring can be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But you should mark the items that which are with the reverse. This will help you in getting better responses. The next principle is that develop a questionnaire that is properly organized and easy for the understand. so that learner can use it and participants can use it easily. If you have very cumbersome type of items, very detailed items, very less space for the response, then your learner will not be able to respond properly. So the organization of your questionnaire should be very good. It should be properly organized. And the last principle is always pilot test of your questionnaire before going to the actual participants. When you develop a questionnaire, identify a group of 10, 15, 20 people similar to that of your respondents, administer tool on them, try to collect the feedback on the language, on the understanding, on the types of items, and you can modify your tool according to the feedback received from the respondents during the pilot testing. So these are the basic principles which we can use while developing a questionnaire. So I hope that when you will develop your questionnaire by using these principles, you will be able to develop a good questionnaire. How to develop a questionnaire? What are the steps of developing a questionnaire? We will discuss in a different session. Thank you very much for listening me patiently in this session, and I hope that you have enjoyed the session. Thank you very much.